A drone hits a building 6 kilometers from the Kremlin. Ukrainian intelligence claims responsibility within hours, but the real story isn't the drone itself. It's what Vladimir Putin has been doing since March, and why Russia's most powerful security chiefs are now protecting themselves from their own government. According to an EU intelligence report verified by independent Russian journalists, Putin hasn't slept in his Moscow residences since March. He's rotating between modernized bunkers in the Krasnodar region. The footage you see on state television, the meetings, the briefings, the carefully staged appearances, much of it was recorded weeks earlier. Same suits on different days, background details that don't match, timestamps that don't add up. The fracture started on December 22nd when Lieutenant General Igor Kirillov was killed in Moscow by a drone-triggered explosive. 3 days later, Putin convened a security meeting. What happened in that room exposed everything falling apart inside the Russian security apparatus. Chief of General Staff Valery Gerasimov accused the intelligence services of failing to detect the threat. FSB Director Alexander Bortnikov fired back, saying it's impossible to prevent such strikes systematically. Viktor Zolotov from the National Guard told Gerasimov he couldn't spare forces to protect Defense Ministry personnel. 3 of Russia's most powerful security chiefs sitting in the same room, each one shifting blame onto the others. No unity, no solutions, just accusations. Putin closed the meeting asking for proposals within a week. But immediately after, he held a separate meeting with the director of the Federal Protective Service. That's when the decision was made to expand protection to 10 high-ranking generals under 24-hour FSO surveillance. Now here's where this gets operationally significant. Staff working near Putin can no longer use personal cell phones. Only devices without internet access are permitted. Public transportation is banned for presidential personnel. Surveillance cameras have been installed in the homes of cooks, photographers, and security staff. Communication networks in parts of Moscow are being periodically shut down, not by Ukrainian sabotage, but by Putin's own protective service. The FSB has redirected all surveillance equipment away from criminal investigations to monitor government agencies. That's a structural inversion. The FSB is supposed to handle domestic intelligence. The FSO protects the president. When the FSO starts conducting internal surveillance operations, it means Putin doesn't trust the FSB to do it. He doesn't trust anyone except the people directly tasked with keeping him alive. And the man Putin reportedly fears most isn't Volodymyr Zelensky, it's Sergei Shoigu, the former defense minister who vacationed with Putin and dined at his table for over 2 decades. That relationship is now poisoned. The EU intelligence report assesses Shoigu as being linked to coup risk due to his significant influence within the military command structure. There's no concrete evidence Shoigu is planning anything, but Putin's anxiety doesn't require proof. It requires proximity and capability. Shoigu has both. Remember that in June 2023, Yevgeny Prigozhin marched his Wagner troops toward Moscow. But Prigozhin wasn't trying to overthrow Putin. His stated goal was to remove Shoigu and the Chief of General Staff. The rebellion was suppressed. Prigozhin died in a plane crash 2 months later. But the lesson Putin learned wasn't that the system held. It was that someone with enough military influence can threaten the system entirely. In May 2024, Shoigu was removed from the Defense Ministry and transferred to Secretary of the Security Council. On paper, a promotion. In practice, a power reduction. Then the systematic elimination began. In March, Shoigu's former First Deputy Ruslan Tusalikov was arrested on corruption charges. Before Tusalikov, nearly all of Shoigu's former deputies had been placed under investigation. This violated an unwritten rule that had held for years. Members of Putin's inner circle were untouchable. That rule no longer applies. The reaction among the elite has been predictable. At the end of April, Denis Pazlier, former Deputy Minister of Natural Resources, fled Russia. First to Minsk, then to Tbilisi, final destination the United States. Pazlier wasn't a low-level bureaucrat. He oversaw national waste management reform for 6 years. He had access, information, and wasn't on any Western sanctions list. This is the first confirmed case since 2024 of an official at this level fleeing abroad to evade investigation. It's a small crack, but in a system built on loyalty and forced by fear, small cracks propagate fast. Soviet history offers the template. During the 1937 purges, high-ranking officials defected because they believed tomorrow it would be their turn. During the chaos of Operation Barbarossa, fears that the regime would collapse triggered waves of defections. Pazlier's escape fits that historical pattern, and the Kremlin knows it. Meanwhile, the public is absorbing all of this in silence. The internet outages now confirmed to be FSO operations are affecting daily life. People can't conduct banking transactions or call taxis. Business communications are interrupted. Even in official polls designed to produce favorable results, Putin's approval rating has dropped from 77% to the mid-60s. Independent analysts believe the real number is much lower. Western estimates put Russian casualties at nearly 30,000 per month, but Moscow's affluent neighborhoods remain untouched. That disparity is fueling quiet but deep anger. And then there's Victory Day. For 19 consecutive years, May 9th has been the Kremlin's most powerful propaganda tool, the celebration of Soviet victory over Nazi Germany, reframed as continuation of Russian greatness under Putin. This year, for the first time in nearly 2 decades, heavy military vehicles will not participate. The Kremlin cited security concerns. Everyone understands the real reason: Ukrainian drones. On May 2nd, Zelensky made a public statement. He said Russia announced a military parade, but there will be no military equipment. Ukrainian drones could fly over this parade. This shows they aren't as strong as they used to be. That statement landed exactly as intended. The scaling back isn't just logistical adjustment, it's symbolic admission. The regime cannot demonstrate strength even on its holiest national day. Access to Red Square has been blocked. Snipers and machine gunners positioned on Kremlin towers, checkpoints established throughout central Moscow. For the first time, not a single Duma deputy was invited to the ceremony. The message is clear: the leadership is afraid, and Putin's seclusion reinforces that perception. If the leader isn't seen, people ask why. If he's hiding for security reasons, they wonder whether he's really that powerful. Paranoia creates the appearance of weakness. The appearance of weakness fuels speculation. Speculation increases the threat. The threat justifies more paranoia. It's a vicious cycle, and imprisoned opposition figures like Ilya Yashin are amplifying that message from inside Russian prisons, saying this system cannot continue for another 10 years. Is a coup actually possible? The short answer is unlikely, but not impossible. Putin's system is designed to prevent exactly this scenario. Security agencies check and balance one another. The FSB monitors the military. The FSO monitors the FSB. The National Guard serves as counterweight to both. No single individual accumulates enough power to act independently. Prigozhin's rebellion demonstrated how the system absorbs internal challenges. The Wagner columns got within 200 kilometers of Moscow, then collapsed. Prigozhin was dead 2 months later. But the system depends on the man at the center remaining functional. In March, a video was accidentally uploaded to the Kremlin's official channel showing Putin coughing severely during a meeting, appearing short of breath. The video was deleted within minutes but had already spread. Swelling in his hands visible in recent appearances has fueled speculation about Parkinson's disease. The Kremlin allocated $26 billion to an anti-aging gene therapy project, but any sudden health crisis would instantly elevate the probability of both coup attempt and chaotic succession struggle. Putin is 73 with no named successor. Naming one would destabilize the current balance by creating rival camps within the elite. Names like Moscow Mayor Sergei Sobyanin, Security Council Deputy Chairman Dmitry Medvedev, and Nikolai Patrushev are being discussed, but none have guarantees. Putin cannot step down because a new leader could investigate past crimes. He's locked into lifetime rule, but lifetime rule is not infinite. Putin's allies are watching closely. China wants stable Russia for cheap energy and strategic counterbalance to the West. A Kremlin power struggle threatens that predictability. Beijing is increasing investments in Russian energy assets while loosening political commitments. Iran relies on Russia for drone technology and air defense systems, but if Russia can't protect its own refineries from Ukrainian strikes, how much support can it provide Tehran? North Korea appears less concerned, but Pyongyang expects technology transfers that instability could disrupt. Looking at the strategic picture, the Kremlin exhibits every classic symptom of a regime beginning to fracture from within. The leader views internal threats as more dangerous than external enemies. Intelligence resources monitor the government instead of adversaries. Trust among the elite erodes into defections. Security agencies blame one another instead of coordinating. The regime's most powerful propaganda symbol is scaled back because of drone threats. Roman Annan, publisher of important stories, summarized the situation in stark terms. This is one of the most important stories about Russia in recent times because we are witnessing transformation of the Russian regime into a fundamentally different state. History shows authoritarian regimes rarely collapse from external pressure. They collapse from within. The defections, the purges, the cycles of paranoia always begin the same way and always end the same way. Putin's fear may not be justified by concrete evidence of coup plots, but the fear itself is destabilizing the system. It's forcing decisions that weaken the structure. It's creating conditions for the very outcome it's designed to prevent. Meanwhile, the front lines offer no relief. According to the Institute for the Study of War, Russia lost a net 116 square kilometers in April, the first monthly net loss since the Kursk incursion. Inside the Kremlin, the question is no longer whispered. It's being asked aloud. Can this war be won? No one has an answer that satisfies both military and political leadership. So the system continues. The bunkers, the rotations, the surveillance, the arrests, the defections, the scaled-back parades. And somewhere in the Krasnodar region, in a modernized bunker with reinforced walls and layers of security, Vladimir Putin is wondering who among his closest allies might be the next Prigozhin, or the next Shoigu, or the next name he hasn't even considered yet.